Shri Gurubhyo Namah. A very warm welcome to our weekend talk series, The Weekend with Wisdom. And today we have a very special guest, Swamini Sadvidyananda Saraswati ji, joining us from Gujarat. Thank you very much, Swamini ji, for making time for the session. We will begin with a small prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. In today's session, Swamini ji will be speaking about the phrase, the concept of yoga as it appears in Bhagavad Gita. There are many concepts in Bhagavad Gita which appear in different contexts, different chapters, different places with a slightly different meaning. Though there is a shared understanding of what yoga is, what Jnana is, what Samkhya is, what Yajna is, but still in a contextual sense, the meanings changes. So while this is the beauty of Sanskrita as a language, it also poses certain difficulties for a beginner who wants to study a text. So a text such as Bhagavad Gita. So Swamini ji will be focusing on the phrase, on the meaning of yoga in today's session. We have one session now and we have one more session in the evening. And she will be taking questions towards the end of the session, end of each session. So last 15 minutes is for question and answer. You can post a question in a Q&A box. Before going forward, I just want to introduce briefly Swamini ji. Swamini Sadvidyananda Saraswati ji is the disciple of Puja Guruji Swami Dayananda Saraswati ji, a great exponent on Vedanta and Hindu Shastras. Swamini ji is teaching Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads in Gujarati in the different towns of Gujarat like Navasari, Bardoli, Bilimora, etc. for the last 25 years. And she has created a trust, Arsha Vidya Tirtha, and under that trust, she has translated and published more than 37 books of her Guru, Swami Dayananda Saraswati ji, into Gujarati. And from 1998 to 2003, she also translated the voluminous work of Puja Gurudev on Bhagavad Gita called Gita Home Study. She translated that to Gujarati, again for the benefit of non-Sanskrit, non-English audience. And she has also attended and presented various papers in conferences and especially national education conferences that were held in Pune, Gwalior, and she participated in Sri Vidya International Conference at Mysore, and many such activities she regularly participates. We are very fortunate to have you here, Swamiji. Thank you for blessing our program again. Please go ahead and start the session.
Om Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Shanna Mitra Shamvaruna Shanna Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indra Bruhaspatihi Shanna Vishnurukramaha Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayu Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ridam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Ma Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदान शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ महागणपतये नमः। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणे विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। Namaste to all. Let us see first the word yoga. What is yoga? Yoga means what? Lot of people are connecting word yoga with Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So there also yoga chitta vritti nirodha when say. Mostly people are using this word yoga in the meaning of connecting. But if you see Panini Muni's grammar, dhatu part, there are two dhatus are there. Yuja sanyoge, yuja samadho. Understand this? So yoga, yuj dhatu is in the sense of sanyoga, connection, merging. But when it says yoga chitta vritti nirodha, there yoga means yoga yuja samadho, samadhi. So there also people have misunderstanding about this word yoga. It is samadhi. Yoga means samadhi. So the word yoga also means topic, title. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna Visada Yoga, Samkhya Yoga, Karma Yoga. So there yoga means what? Karma yoga means what? Connecting to karma. Vishada yoga means connecting to Vishada? No. There yoga means the title of this chapter is Vishada yoga. Title of this chapter is Samkhya. Samkhya means knowledge. Karma yoga means the topic of this chapter is karma, and that's why the title is Karma yoga. There are sadhus, those who are talking like this, that in Gita, God has given 18 yogas, that's why there are 18 chapters. All these wrong concepts are going on. So, yoga means what? It is not connection. It is samadhi. It is the samadhi also is what? In Gita itself, Bhagavan says, Samyak adhiyate asmin iti samadhi. In second chapter, Shankaracharya gives this. Where everything has its own existence. That is called samadhi, Atma. Atma is one which is giving the existence, the conscious, the whole universe. The substratum is Atma. So Samyak adhyate asmin, where everything has its own existence. That is called samadhi. So samadhi means knowledge, samadhi means meditation, samadhi means Atma. So in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, when we say there yoga means samadhi. When it comes to Bhagavad Gita, So many places Bhagavan has used this word yoga. If you want to see how many times Bhagavan has used yoga, you have to see that Bhagavad Gita of Gita Press, Shankar Bhashya. At the end, the word index is given. In that word index, if you see, you can see the whole list of yoga. And then with the different vibhakti also, it gives yogena, yogam, yogaha, like that. And so today we are going to see that contextually, what is the meaning of the word yoga in Bhagavad Gita? Because people think Bhagavad Gita is easy. Upanishad, Brahma Sutra is very tough. But I always say that Bhagavad Gita is a most difficult book because it is given by Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna himself doesn't stand straight. You know, Lord Rama means what? Kodandadhari Ramaha, straight. But look at Lord Krishna. Tribhanga Lalita Kriti. Tribhanga. Head is on this side, body is on this side, legs are on this side, and then eyes are on the other side. But the Tribhanga is there, understand? Still, it is not something which you don't like to see. That's why it's a Lalita Kriti. It's beautiful. To see Lord Krishna standing with this Tribhanga, it's beautiful. Similarly, the teaching of Bhagavad Gita is also like that. Because so many contradictions are there in Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, even if you see second chapter, that Vidhi means may you know. Avinashi tu tad Vidhi. Arjun, may you know this Atma is Avinashi. So first he is telling may you know. Next verse, Anasina Aprameyasya Aprameya. That which cannot be known by any means of knowledge. Aprameya. Understand? You are telling may you know, then now you are telling it is Aprameya. Then how am I going to know? Look at this. Same way. You see ninth. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani. Next verse, nacha matsthani bhutani. Whole universe is in me. Next verse, Bhagavan is telling nacha matsthani bhutani. Nothing is in me. How are you going to answer this? How are you going to resolve this contradiction? In 13th chapter, Durastantikecha. So, it's not that easy. Word by word, even if you try to understand Bhagavad Gita. But there are so many contradictions are there. We have to resolve each and every contradiction. That's why my teacher, Swamiji, Puja Swamiji used to tell that if you want to know Bhagavad Gita, you have to learn word by word. Even the chakara has a meaning in Gita. But if you want to know Bhagavad Gita word by word, you have to have overall view of Bhagavad Gita. So that is also contradiction. To know word by word, I have to have what all Bhagavad Gita is. To know Bhagavad Gita, I have to go word by word. And therefore, if you look into Bhagavad Gita, even because of this way of talking, Yudhishthira was not even trusting Lord Krishna. Understand? Because Krishna's words are not that easy. So, today we are taking the word yoga. Now, Lord Krishna himself has given the definition of yoga. The yoga word, there are three definitions given by clear definitions are given by Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. So, in the second chapter, if you see, there is a verse says, Karmani eva tavadikar. So, here in second chapter, 47th verse, Bhagavan is telling that every human being is endowed with the freedom to act. There's a choice is given to us. But when the choices are there, that means I can do, I don't do, I can do differently. So, when the choice is there is a possibility of misusing, abusing the choice. And therefore, though karmani eva tavadikaraham, you have a say over your actions. You have a choice over action. You have a freedom over action. Still, Bhagavan says, Natu karma phalesh. In the result of action, we don't have any freedom. Once we complete the action, it's in the hand of Bhagavan. But as I said, that if the freedom is given to me, that swatantrata is there with me, then there is a possibility of misuse. And therefore, next verse, 48th verse, beautiful Bhagavan is telling, Yogastha Kuru Karma. Look at this. May you abide, Yogastha, may you abide in yoga and perform action. Not only that, Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya, giving up the attachment towards the action and towards the result of the action, may you perform the action, abiding into yoga. Look at this word, yoga. Yogastha. What is this yoga here? So Bhagavan says, Siddhya Siddhya Samobhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchya. So this is the first definition of yoga given by Bhagavan here, in which we have to abide, Yogastha. So Bhagavan says, Samatvam Yoga Uchya. People quote only this 1/4 of verse. That's not proper. We have to see the entire. What is that entire meaning? Siddha Siddhya Samobhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchya. Siddha Siddhya Samobhutva means what? Siddhi means success. Asiddhi means failure. And so, Bhagavan says, whether it is a success or failure, Siddhi or Asiddhi, Samatvam Samobhutva. Sama, equal. Samaha means equal. Now, what is equal here? Look at this. There cannot be equal karma. Even the same action when you are performing, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be equal. Result of the action also is not the same. So, the mind also is not the same mind I am going to perform the action. My body, my senses, the situation around me, nothing is the same. Then why Samaha Bhagavan is there? Samo Bhutva. Becoming equal, the same, may you perform. Now what is equal here? Nothing is equal. Action, result of the action, the body, the mind, the senses, buddhi, nothing is same. Then what is this Sama? Be equal and perform the action. What is equal here? Nothing. And then Bhagavan says, Samatvam, this Samatva, this Sama, the samaness, the sameness is the yoga. Look at this. the same, the equality. That is the yoga. Now there cannot be same. Person is not the same, nothing is same. So how we are going to perform this yoga kuru karma? We have to resolve these things. Samatvam yoga uchyate, when we say the samatva is yoga, Bhagavan is telling this samatva is yoga. The sameness is yoga. But there is nothing same here. Understand? So what is samatva? Sameness. Even in my response to the action, my response to the situation, my response to the result of the action is also not going to be the same. But Bhagavan is telling samatvam yoga. What is that samatva? So Pujya Swamiji explains that when we perform action, there is an expectation. A lot of people are telling perform action without any expectations. No. Apeksha. Bhagavan never said this in Gita, that without any expectations of the result of the action, you perform. No. Apeksha is there. Without apeksha, expectation, how am I going to even start the action? That's why in Shastra it is said that phalam anuddishya mandopina pravartat. There should be an act, there should be the result of the action in my mind. The expectation should be that I perform this action for this kind of the result. So there is the expectations of the result of the action, without which even I can't start the action. Suppose I sit in the car and then driver asks me, where do you want to go? I don't have any expectations to go anywhere. Then why should I sit in the car? Understand? I sit in the car, that means I have expectations to go somewhere. And I have to tell driver, go to Bombay, go to Ahmedabad, go to Nagpur, Calcutta, understand? So there is an expectation. And therefore, we have a certain expectations of the result of the action. But when it comes, when we receive the result of the action, we can divide this result of the action into 4 types. Understand? It's based on our expectations. Not Bhagavan is not dividing this. This is our expectations. Based on our expectations, there can be 4 types of the result of the action. It can be exactly what I expected, or it can be more than my expectations, it can be less than my expectations, or it can be the opposite to my expectations. Exactly like what I expected, or more than what I am expecting, less than or opposite. But the criteria is my expectation. So now look at this. If it is what I expected or more than what I expected, I understand this properly. I label it as Siddhi. If it is less than my expectations or opposite to my expectations, I label it as a Siddhi, failure. Look at this. So how can I be the same? Siddhi and asiddhi, Bhagavan says, siddhya siddhyo samo bhutta. How am I going to be sane? I see that there is a failure. I see there is a success. So, my expectation is deciding whether it is a siddhi or asiddhi. In Sanskrit, karma phala, it's a phala, understand? And previous one, Bhagavan said, I am the one who is giving the result of the action. So, Bhagavan is karma phala data. Look at it. But that phalam, if it is according to my expectations or more than my expectation, I add the sa before the phalam called saphalam, siddhi, understand? Bhagavan is giving you phalam. According to your expectations, it can be saphalam, it can be nishphalam, understand? We are adding this upasarga, this we are adding here, understand? Bhagavan is giving you result of the action. And therefore, according to our expectation, it can be saphalam, siddhi, it can be nishphalam, asiddhi. Bhagavan says, samo bhutva, becoming the same. Look at this. See, this is why I'm telling, every word is important. Bhagavan is not telling the result is same. Understand? You become the same. Samo bhutva. You become. Becoming. Bhutva means certain things are there. This tva pratyay is telling you something. Tva pratyay is always applied to the action which is previous. Snatva gaccha. Having taken bath, he is going. So, samo bhutva, having become the same. So, now look at this. That means what? Body, mind, sense, situation, action, result, nothing is same. We have to become the same. Understand that? Samo bhutva. And Bhagavan is addressing Arjuna. Through Arjuna, through the shoulder of Arjuna, Bhagavan is addressing us. Samo bhutva. May you become, having become the same, samatvam yoga uchyate. But how can I be? In siddhi, how can I be same? How can I be same in a siddhi? My emotions are going to be different. When there is a siddhi, I am happy. I feel proud of myself. When there is a siddhi, failure, I'm sad. I'm frustrated. So from the standpoint of the emotions also, there cannot be the sameness. And therefore, samatvam yoga uchyate means what? Where is the samatvam here? Bhagavan himself has divided karma phala into two, siddhi and asiddhi. Understand? Therefore, Pujya Swamini says, this samatvam is at the level of what? At the level of our attitude towards the action, the result of the action. That attitude is samatva. Understand this properly. That's why Swamiji says, karma yoga is not an action. It is not something to be performed. Karma yoga is an attitude. What is your attitude towards the result of the action, whether it is a siddhi or asiddhi? Therefore, the samatvam yoga, when Bhagavan is telling, this here yoga means my attitude towards the result of the action, which is samatvam, sameness. Now, how can I have the sameness? Understand? So therefore, we have to go one step further. As previous words say, we have a say over, or we have a freedom over action, but not result of the action. And as I said previously, the result of the action is being produced by Bhagavan, Ishvara. Therefore, in Karma Yuga, we have this two different type of the recognition of Ishvara. One is a karma adhyaksha. That will come later on, I will explain. Samatvam Yoga Ucha, the definition of yoga is from the standpoint of the result of the action. So, we have to recognize Ishwar as a karma phala data. He is the giver of the result of the action. Now, in our Bharatiya Sanskriti, this is very common attitude everyone has. When you go to the temple, all over Bharatiya Sanskriti, this is very common attitude. Whether you go to Rameshwaram, whether you go to Jagannath Puri, you go to Dwarkadish, you go to Kedarnath, Badrinath, whenever you go to the temple, you offer something to Bhagavan. Flowers, coconut, sweets, kumkum, even cloth, fabric. We offer it. We don't go empty handed. That's our culture. Rikta panir na pashya. Rajanam gurum devam. We never go empty hand to the king, to guru, and to deva, mean temple. So we take something, a packet of sweet or coconut, or we go to the Devi, then we take some cloth, sari or something. Kumkum, chandan, vibhuti. So we offer it. We give it to the pujari, the priest. Then priest will take it and offer it to Bhagavan. At the feet of Bhagavan, he offers. Then we do the pradakshina, we come back. Then this pujari, the priest, will give something to us. Now understand this. When this priest is giving us something which has come from the feet of the Lord, we don't question. We don't have any kind of the resistance towards it. Whether it is a spoon of water, or half broken coconut, or kumkum, or vibhuti, or chandanam, or cloth, anything, flower, a small bilvapatra. And what do? We put our hands like this. What is this hands? What is this gesture? This is a gesture of acceptance. And accept. We accept. Whether it is a water, kumkum, vibhuti, anything. This is called acceptance. Whatever comes from feet of the Lord. Why? We have a word. No other culture has this word. This is the beauty of our culture, called prasadam. Anything. But we accept. Swamiji used to give the example. There was a mama having a high diabetes. And the neighbor went to Tirupati. And he brought this Tirupati laddu. Now, this mama didn't know that he went to Tirupati and he came there. So, one morning he came and said, Mama, I brought something for you. He wanted to give surprise to Mom. I said, what? Look at this, I brought this one. No, I can't even touch this. Yesterday I went for the blood test. Sugar is very high. Doctor told me, don't touch it. Look at this. As soon as this person says, no, Mama, this is from Tirupati. Look at this gesture. Immediately he will accept that. He won't eat it, but he will accept. Do you understand the acceptance? That's why Samatvam Yoga Uchyate means what? Pujya Swami say, cheerful acceptance. No siddhi, no asiddhi, no frustrations, no elation, nothing. Cheerful acceptance. Prasad means cheerful acceptance. The word prasad itself in Sanskrit means what? The tranquility of the mind, the quietude of mind, the nirmalatvam of the mind. How my mind is so nirmal. No confusion, nothing. Quiet, shanta, nirmal. That is called prasad. Do you understand that? We take an object as prasad. Object is not prasad. Our attitude is prasad. Object can be anything. Do you understand? So that prasad, that called Shankaracharya said, prasad buddhi. With reference to the result of the action, what is our attitude? Prasad buddhi. Because as in the temple, whatever comes from the feet of Bhagavan, we accept cheerfully, called prasad. Now, look at this. Bhagavan is the one who is giving the result of the action. That means what? Every result of the action is coming from Bhagavan. So, now that attitude of the prasad, which is limited to the temple. Now take that limitations. Go out and see. In this world, everything is given to. Sun, moon, galaxy, universe, earth, water, fire, vayu, body, mind, senses, even the children, given to you. That's why we give the name Venkata Prasada, Krishna Prasada. Understand? Do you understand now this word prasad? Even wife and husband, prasad. House is prasad. Lakshmi. Body is prasada. It is a result of my own action. Because of this, my action, this is how my body is. Your body is. Your parents, your house, your country, your language, your culture, everything is given to you. And therefore, we have to go out of the temple and see that everything is prasad. Called samatva. From the standpoint of our attitude toward the result of the action as a prasad buddhi, it is samatva. Siddhi also is a prasad, asiddhi also is a prasad. Understand this? And therefore, when Bhagavan says samatvam yoga uchyate, that samatvam means what? That prasad buddhi, with reference to the result of the action, my attitude, yoga, is samatvam, equal, because it is a prasad. So this is the one definition here of the word yoga, attitude, that everything is given to me. It is a prasad. Then what about the action? So that's why in 15th verse, Bhagavan gives the second definition of yoga, word yoga, with reference to the action. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrute dushkrita. Look at this. Sukrita. Sukrita means punya karma. Dushkrita means papa karma. Tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karmasu kaushal. So this is the second definition of yoga, which Bhagavan is giving here. Yoga karmasu kaushal. If the word we use, the expertise in the action is called yoga. If we take this one literally, then Dawood Ibrahim also yogi. Why? He is expert. Many thieves are also yogi. They are expert in stealing. All our politicians are yogi because they know how to fool you. Every election we are fooled by this people. Please don't take it. I'm just giving you examples. So, expertise in the action is called yoga. That's why Bhagavan already said, Sukrute Dushkrite Ubhe. Understand? What we have to do? Jahati Iha Ubhe. Both of them has to be given. Whether it is a Sukritam, Punyam, Dushkritam, Papa. Look at it. Means you have to go above this Papa and Punya. How? Buddhi Yukta. There he says Yogastha. Here he says Buddhi Yukta. Buddhi means what Buddhi? Samatva Buddhi. Having this Samatva Buddhi, may you give up this Punya and Papa. Not only that, Tasmad Yogaya Yujjas. May you surrender yourself to this yoga, this attitude. Why? Yoga karmasu kausha. Now, this kaushalam we have to understand. So, in Taittiriya Upanishad Shikshavali, this kushala word comes. It says, Satyam vada dharmam chara. There says, dharma na pramaditam. May you not develop any kind of the indifference. Pramada means indifference. Indifference towards the dharma. Then next sentence is, kushala na pramaditam. Look at this dharma and adharma, sukrita and dushkrita, papa and punya. Very difficult to decide. From one standpoint, it looks like it is a dharma, other standpoint, it is adharma. Therefore, Bhagavan's Taittiriya Upanishad Shikshavali says, dharmanna pramaditavyam, kushalanna pramadita. Here Bhagavan says sukrita dushkrita. Understand? May you have an expertise to decide what is punya and what is papa, what is dharma and what is adharma. Very difficult. Because dharma is not in your action. Action doesn't decide what is dharma. Vedaha akhila dharmasya moolam. Dharma is based on the Veda. It's called Vidhana. Veda, in Hindi if you say, Veda ke Vidhan mein dharma adharma. The injection of the Veda decide what is dharma and what is adharma. And therefore, we need to have the expertise to understand what is dharma and what is adharma. We have to be very alert in that. Therefore, yoga karmasu kaushalam means, look at this, everything is connected to that one verse. Karmani eva tava adhikar. You have a choice over action, but which action you are going to choose, there you need expert. Because the small mistake can convert that punya into power. We have to be very alert. And therefore, yoga karmasu kaushalam means we have to be very alert person. What we say, how we say, what is our tone of saying, how we behave, how we walk, everywhere there should be alertness. Saudhanta. There is a Punyananda Giriji, Udiya Baba. He used to tell, जो सावधान है वही साधक. In every action, every word, we have to be very alert. That is called yoga. In choosing the action, we have to have expertise. That is called yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushal. So this is the one more definition of yoga where Bhagavan is telling we need to have enough knowledge of dharma and adharma. What is the vidhana? What is the nisheda? All we have to understand. Therefore, the second definition of yoga is with reference to the action. So, in the first definition, we say, towards the result of the action, we have an attitude of prasad buddhi. Similarly, here when we say, what is that? Attitude. With reference to the action. So, with reference to the action, we say Bhagavan is a karma-diksha. So, whenever we are performing an action, we think I perform action. And therefore, Shankaracharya gives very beautiful word like prasad buddhi. With reference to the action, it's called Ishwararpan buddhi. We offer our action to the Lord. Ishwararpan buddhi. It is very common here in our culture. Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmana va prakrtir svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasme narayana yeti samam. Yadyat karma karomi tatadakilam shambho tavarakam. So this is how we offer our action to the Lord. Because he is a karma diksha. In 18th chapter, Bhagavan very clearly said, Panchaitani karanani, for performing nishpanna, for performing any action, there are 5 causes. Adhishtanam means this body. Karta means you, the performer, of doer of that. Then, Indriya, senses. Then, Prutacheshtaha, this prana, pancha prana, which are physiological actions. Daivam tu pancham. So, if we look at this verse, there are 5 karanas are there required to perform any action. In that, in 5, you are only one karta. Body is not born because of you. Body is given to you. We already saw that prasad. Senses are given to you. The world is given to you. This prana is performing. Look at this education. I'm talking, it's called voluntary actions. The breathing is there. Heart is beating. Digestive system is digesting the food. We are given this knowledge in the school and colleges. It is involuntary actions. Do you think it is involuntary? It is not involuntary. Understand? It is not involuntary. We are not performing action. But that doesn't mean it is happening by itself. Behind every action, there should be one conscious being. We are not performing action of digestion, action of beating the heart, action of breathing. Lord is performing this action. And this prana, apana, even the removing the impurities from our body. Samanam, digestive fire. Vyana, blood circulation and the whole entire our nervous system. Vyana, it is all pervasive. So this body, when we say, then Prutak this prana we say, senses are there, none of them is under our control. And Daivam. Daivam means all the natural phenomenon, all these natural forces, they are also not under our control. That means what? In any action, our part is only 20%. Rest 80% is by Bhagavan. Therefore, Bhagavan is a karmadhyaksha. Still gives us the total result of the action. That is called karuna of Bhagavan. Though our part while performing action is only 20%, he is giving us 100% result. No commission he is taking, understand. That's a beauty. That's a karuna of Ishvara. Therefore, we have to recognize Ishvara as a karmadhyaksha. And therefore, towards this karmadhyaksha, we have an attitude called Ishwararpan Buddhi. So, by these two verses, we say the one definition of yoga is with reference to the result of the action, which is called prasad buddhi. The second definition of yoga with reference to the action, and that is Ishwararpan buddhi. That's what samatvam yoga uchyate yoga karmasu kausha. So this where this yoga means what? Yoga means our attitude towards the result of the action and action itself. Now let us see the fourth chapter. In the fifth chapter, Bhagavan has given the knowledge of the self, and Bhagavan has described the characteristics of the wise person. Fourth chapter also Bhagavan is discussing. Third chapter, every chapter there are certain verses which are discussing about the character, the lakshana of wise person, Jnanam. So if we look into the chapter wise, the first chapter is the Arjuna's confusion toward dharma and adharma. And because of this confusion, he himself said, dharma sammudha cheta, my mind, my intellect is totally confused with reference to the dharma and adharma. And therefore, I surrender to you. as a student. And then Bhagavan, from the second chapter, 11th verse, Bhagavan gives him the knowledge of the self. 11 to 30 verse. Understand? Then Bhagavan saw that Arjuna is not understanding the true nature of the self. So Bhagavan talked about Karma Yoga. Then Arjuna asked about the Lakshana, the characteristics of wise person. See the Pragyastic Kama. So Bhagavan talked about the Lakshana of wise person. That is the second chapter. Understand? But then Bhagavan at the end said, you perform the action. And therefore, Arjuna had a confusion whether he should go for the war or he should give up everything and go to the forest. So he says that Kim Karmani Ghorema Niyojayasi Kesha. Bhagavan, why you are pushing me in this cruel action of war? Tadekam Nishchitte Vada. You decide whether I should go for the karma or I should renounce everything. Sannyas. So Bhagavan again explained to him that two types of the lifestyle are there. Lokesh means Vividha Nishta. One is a lifestyle of Karma Yoga, other is a lifestyle of Sannyas. And then Bhagavan talks about the action. Understand? Third chapter topic is Karma. And then at the end, Bhagavan talks about the true nature of the self, which is all-pervasive consciousness. So from the standpoint of Bhagavan, that's the end of his teaching. Third chapter is the end of Bhagavan's teaching. So Bhagavan thought, now let me summarize the whole thing. That if Arjuna is thinking, I am giving him something new, it is not something new. And therefore, fourth chapter starts with Imam Vivasvatam Yogam. Understand this word yoga. Proktavanaham Avyayam. Arjuna, I told you this Avyaya yoga. But this yoga, what I told you, was already given to somebody who? Imam Vivasvate. Vivasvan. Surya Narayana. Arjuna, this yoga, now look at this word. This yoga which I told you now, is I already in the beginning of the creation, I gave this yoga, I taught this yoga to Surya Narayana. Vivasvan Manave, Vivasvan Surya Narayana imparted this yoga to his son Manu. Manu to Ikshvaku. Evam parampara praptam yoga. Here yoga means what? It is Ashtanga yoga, Patanjali yoga. It is a karma yoga, it is a samatva yoga, it is a kushalam yoga. Understand this. What is the meaning of word yoga here? In these two first verses, Bhagavan is using the word yoga. And then at the end says, yogaha nashtaha parantapa. This yoga is destroyed. Kalena iha mahata. In the long period of time, this yoga is destroyed. Now, what is the word of yoga? What is the meaning of the yoga here? We have to look into it. Here, the word yoga means knowledge. Understand this properly. The self-knowledge. Bhagavan says, this yoga means this self-knowledge, the avyaya. Knowledge is avyaya. Nobody can destroy knowledge. Even Bhagavan cannot destroy knowledge. Even Bhagavan cannot create knowledge. Understand this properly. Bhagavan is not the Jnana Karta. Bhagavan has not created knowledge. Knowledge is. So Bhagavan says, This avyaya yoga means avyaya knowledge is imparted to Surya. Aham proktavan. I imparted this knowledge to Surya. Surya Narayan to Manu, Manu to Ikshvaku. Ikshvaku means Ram Vamsha. Evam parampara pra. So this knowledge is coming through this tradition, parampara. Rajarshayo viduhu. Raja and Rishi both were knowing this. Or Rajarshi, like Janaka. They all knew this. So here, yoga means not karma yoga, not bhakti yoga, it is a knowledge. Bhagavan imparted this knowledge. And this knowledge is flowing, parampara. I always tell my students, when we are learning this Shankar Bhashya, that means what? Now we are learning Shankar Bhashya, means we are already connected to Adi Shankara. We are already connected to that Rishi. Understand? It is avyaya. Knowledge also is avyaya. Parampara also is avyaya. Understand this problem. It is unbroken. And therefore Bhagavan says, the same knowledge. Saha eva ayam maya te adya yoga prokta. Third verse. The same knowledge is being told by me to you. Maya prokta. So Arjun, this is not something new. Nowadays, lot of people, lot of sadhus have this fancy. This is my new technique of dhyana, meditation. My technique. What is technique? Nothing is obvious. And therefore Bhagavan says, Arjun, this is not something new. Saha eva, that same knowledge, adya, today I told you. And I told you because of what? Bhaktosime, you are my devotee. Not only my devotee, you are my friend. Bhaktosime sakha cheti. Rahasyam hi etaduttam. This is rahasya, secret. The self-knowledge, Atma Jnanam, is a secret. And therefore, here in 4th chapter, first 3 verses, what Bhagavan using the word yoga means the self-knowledge, which is imparted to Arjuna. So this yoga word, so many places it is. I'm just taking few verses to explain to you that how contextually we have to understand this meaning of the word yoga. That's why I told you, look at into the index, the word index, you can see so many places are there. But few I am trying to give you here. So here the yoga means knowledge. And as I said previously, that entire Gita, Bhagavan has given 3 definitions of yoga. 2 definitions already we saw. Now, Bhagavan directly giving the definition of yoga in the 6th chapter. If you see in the 6th chapter, verse 23. Here also, as Bhagavan Samatvam Yoga Uchyate, Yoga Karma Kaushalam, that is a yoga definition is given. Here Bhagavan are giving the definition of yoga. Very beautiful, understand. Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sanganitam. Yoga sanganitam, it is sanganitam, it is called yoga. What is called yoga? When Bhagavan said, Tam vidya, may you know Arjuna. What? Dukkha sanyoga viyogam. Very beautiful. This is the yoga. What is the yoga? Viyogam. separating you from something. Separating from what? Viyoga. Moving away. Moving away from what? Dukkha sanyoga. We are all connected to the dukkha. Here sanyoga means connection, understand. Yuja sanyoga here. Understand. So every human being is connected to dukkha. Whatever and however you achieved in the world, in the corner of the mind, this is there. Dukkha sanyoga. From the standpoint of the body, from the standpoint of the culture, from the standpoint of the birth, from the standpoint of knowledge, from the standpoint of achievement, from the standpoint of wealth, and there is a dukkha sanyoga. In Swamiji's language, I lack something. Always there is a kind of a sense of lacking in our mind. Something we are missing. Something which I don't have what I wanted. Therefore, Bhagavan said, this is a dukkha sanyoga. We are all connected to this dukkha. And this dukkha is what? This unhappiness is what? This sorrow is what? There are three kinds of sorrow. What previously I said, from the standpoint of the wealth or the achievements or body, are all external. These are external achievements. We are unhappy. But there are three fundamental problems. Here, dukkha sanyoga is not external things what Bhagavan is talking about, according to your prarabdha, what you have got, in which you don't have a satisfaction. You lack something. You miss something. That's not Bhagavan is talking. Here, dukkha sanyoga is what? It is our fundamental problem. Every human being is facing these three fundamentals. And because of that, there is a connection with dukkha, sorrow. The first fundamental problem is death. Nobody wants to die, but nobody can avoid death also. Look, nobody likes ignorance, ajnana. But as Swamiji used to say, more you know, more you come to know what you don't know. In this world, more you know, more you see how much you don't know. So there is an ignorance. And that ignorance is not the problem, understand? Death is not the problem. I am going to die. It is a self-centered, that I don't accept. I am an ignorant, that I can't accept. I am unhappy, dukkha, that I can't accept. So here dukkha sanyoga is, this Bhagavan is talking about these three fundamental problems. And the Bhagavan is telling what is yoga? Viyogam yoga sanyoga. You disconnect yourself from these three. That is called yoga. Very beautiful. How are you going to disconnect? Because you already have decided, I am dying, I am mortal, I am an ignorant, I am unhappy. Every human being. It has nothing to do with the culture or the country, understand. Every human being is facing these three fundamental problems. And here Bhagavan is telling that from these three we have to disconnect ourselves. We owe that. How are you going to disconnect? Already I have decided I am mortal. So there is a logic. You have to see this logic. Understand? There are two logics are there. The first logic is I cannot accept something which is not my nature. Non-acceptance is there because it is not my nature. Whatever is the nature, there cannot be non-acceptance. Fire cannot say, oh, I'm tired of this heat. No. Water cannot say, I'm tired of this coolness, because its nature of Shitalta is a nature of Jalam, water. Ushnata, heat is the nature of the fire. So, there cannot be non-acceptance of the nature. And that which is not acceptable cannot be the nature. Do you understand what I'm telling? That which is not my nature, I cannot accept. Because it is against my nature. Now, this is where Vedanta is. That we ourselves have decided I am mortal, I am an ignorant, and I am unhappy. Our own conclusions we are not accepting. I don't want to die. I want to know. I want to be happy. So that which I am not accepting cannot be my nature. What I am accepting, that is my nature. Therefore, this sanyoga, dukkha sanyoga, is a false conclusion. Adhyaropa, adhyasayas. We have superimposed this mortality, this ignorance, this unhappiness on ourselves. And then we are trying to get rid of it. We want to get rid of death. We want to get rid of ignorance. We want to get rid of unhappiness. Do you understand? So therefore, this very beautiful logic. What we cannot accept cannot be our nature. What we are accepting or we are expecting, that is our nature. I want to be happy, happiness is my nature. I want to be immortal, immortal has to be my nature. I want to be knowledgeable, knowledge has to be my nature. And therefore, dukkha sanyoga view. Whatever conclusions we have made about ourselves, whatever superimposition is there on us, to separate ourselves from this conclusion about ourselves, adhyasa, adhyaropa, that viyoga is called yoga. Beautiful, look at this. How are you going to do that? Here also it is a knowledge. By knowledge only you can see it. Any wrong conclusions goes by the right knowledge. If I see snake and I'm frightened of the snake, if it's a real snake, action is required. But there is no snake, but I superimpose the snake on the rope, that action is not the solution. The right knowledge is the solution. Knowing the rope is the solution. You know the rope, no more snake is there. Do you understand? Though I am frightened of the snake, I don't need to remove the snake. I have to remove the wrong conclusion. In 5th chapter, already Bhagavan says, Ajnanena avrutam gnanam tena muhyanti chan. The ignorance of the self is the one which has deluded you in every manner. That delusion is the supreme. I am body, I am mind, I am senses, I am man, I am woman, I am human being, I am doctor, I am advocate, all supreme. It goes on. It's endless. But these three are the fundamental superimposition. I am mortal, I am ignorant, I am unhappy. And Bhagavan says, the one which disconnect you, yoga, disconnect you from these three conclusions is called yoga. Therefore, this yoga means what? This is the self-knowledge. You know who are you. And as I say, that what you are expecting about yourself, that is your nature. I want to be happy, happiness is your nature. I want to be knowledgeable, knowledge is your nature. I want to be immortal, immortality is your nature. Understand? That is what we have to understand properly. And therefore, Bhagavan says that just talking is not going to make it. That's what in next sentence Bhagavan says, Saha nishchayena yoktavyaha. Nishchayena, you have to have that firm conclusion in your mind to gain this knowledge which disconnect you from the superimposition, whatever you have done. Nishchayena, understand. Not only that, yogaha nirvinna chetasaha. Nirvinna cheta, without any kind of the tiredness, any kind of the indifference towards this knowledge. We have to yoktavya, we have to put an effort to gain this knowledge. Nishchayena. So here, yoga means what? Knowledge, self. And that self-knowledge has to be gained. Through the self-knowledge only, whatever we have connected ourselves to this body, mind, sense complex, this family, this world, and all this we are connected. We have to disconnect ourselves. We have to see whatever here is only you, the self. Already it is being discussed. And Bhagavan again in the 6th chapter here only, Bhagavan Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Cha. Whatever here is only the self. Ikshate Yoga Yukta. Yoga Yukta means the person who has gained this knowledge. He sees that everything is non-separate from the self. Therefore, the self-knowledge has to be achieved with firm conclusion in our part. We have to decide and we have to go for it. But it's not that easy. And therefore, next few verses, Bhagavan gives the whole methodology of gaining this knowledge. But here the word yoga is being explained, being used by Bhagavan, that this is called yoga. Yoga Sangritam, this is called yoga. What is called yoga? Where whatever way you have superimposed on you, you separate yourself. Therefore, whole human life is nothing but this. Whole life has to be dedicated to this knowledge, self-knowledge. But our mind is so much engaged in this day-to-day life things, the external things. The external problem, as there is a fundamental problem, Mrityu, Ajnan and Dukkha. Similarly, outside also there are three problems. Roti, Kapda, Makan, and this. What's that? Our mind is so much engaged in these things that we never try to understand that we have to gain this knowledge. And therefore, Bhagavan says, Saha Nishchayena Yoktavya. Yoktavya, Tavya Pratyaya is there. Tavya Pratyaya is Kartavya, to be done. Gnatavya, to be known. Same way, Nishchayena Yoktavya. So Yoktavya means with very firm decision. We have to go after it. This Tavya Pratyaya Bhagavan is using here. That means gaining knowledge is the basic to be done for us. Because the Tavya is here. And because it is not that easy, though by logic I explained to you, but it's not that easy because that conclusion has to be by you. I am immortal, that conclusion has to be by you. I am knowledge, I am happy. Externally, there can be so many unhappinesses, so many situations which are not conducive. Lot of non-conducive situations will be there. But we don't take any kind of the superimposition on us. That's why Dukkheshu Anudvikna Mana. Though there are non-conducive situations are there, still I am what? Anandoham. That Ananda. I am Ananda. So, that's why Bhagavan says, Nirvinna Chetas. Without getting tired, without getting frustrated. Because here only Bhagavan said, Anek Janma Samkhya. From so many births we have concluded about ourselves. So it is so much imbibed in us that when somebody says you are Ananda Swarupa, then we start thinking, really I am Ananda? All the time I am so unhappy, so frustrated. Therefore I always make jokes that even though we were told that you are Ananda, we are unhappy that we are Ananda. Why? Because we are not understanding it. So even after knowing this also, we are not happy. Why? Because we are not understanding it. We have to understand it properly. That I am what? See, now look at this. I am mortal. I am not mortal. I am Sat Swarupa. I am ignorant. I am not ignorant. Jnana Swarupa, Chit Swarupa. I am unhappy, Dukkham. No, I am Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda. That is your nature. You are Satchidananda Swarupa. That knowledge is one which disconnect you from this dukkha. And that knowledge, here Bhagavan is using the word yoga. That by knowing the true nature of the self, Satchidananda. Sat means that which is not bound by time. Chit means knowledge which is all pervasive, that is not limited by the space. And you are Ananda, not limited by the situation or the vastu. Desh kal vastu aparichinna Satchidananda. And that knowledge disconnect you from this dukkha. And that is to be gained with firm convictions. The convictions has to be. Through the conviction only, we can achieve this knowledge. And therefore, in Yajna, in Bhagavad Upanishad says, Atmavare drashtavya. Look at this. There are also tavya pratyas there. Yoktavya Bhagavan here says, there is a drashtavya. We have to have a clear. Drashtavya means you are not going with the eyes, you are going to see Atma. Drashtavya means the clear knowledge. But to that have the clear knowledge of the self. Shrotavya. Shrotavya. Shrotavya means we have to listen to the teacher, qualified teacher. And after listening to it, Shravana, Shastra Shravana, Mantavya, we have to reflect whatever we have listened to from the teacher. And Nididhyasitavya, contemplation. So, to gain the clear knowledge of the self, then these are the three antaranga sadhana. Viveka, Vairagya, Sampatti, and Mumukshutva. They are Bahiranga sadhana. External preparation is. But only external preparation doesn't take you to the knowledge. Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavya. It is to be listened to. It is to be reflected upon. It is to be contemplated upon. Therefore, Yoktavya means we have to have the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyas. In 4th chapter, already Bhagavan said, Upadekshanti te Jnanam. Once you surrender to the teacher is going to teach you. That is called Shravana. During the Shravanam only, the Mananam also takes place. Because certain questions are raised by the teacher, and teacher resolves those questions. It's called Mananam. Whenever we have any samkhya, any doubt, how can I be happy? How can I be immortal? So, all the doubts are also resolved during the Shravanam. And then contemplations. That is what the 6th chapter is understanding. Though we call Dhyana Yoga, it is a contemplation. Atma samstam manakritva nakinchidapi chinta. Once your mind is being abide into the true nature of the self, don't move away from it. And not only that, yato nishara, because of whatever reason, whatever reason it moves away. From that you bring it back. Tataha niyamya eta. And therefore, why Bhagavan is nirvinna chetasaha? Because you have to put lot of efforts to gain this knowledge. Shravanam has to be done, Mananam has to be done, Needed contemplation has to be. And there should not be any kind of the frustrations, any kind of the indifference in our mind while gaining this knowledge. So, this Tavya Pratyaya also is important here, and Anirvana Chetasaha also is very important without being tired. It has to be achieved. And therefore, here also Bhagavan is using the word yoga. Look at this beautiful. Sanyoga, Viyoga, Yoga. Sanyoga means we are connected to this false knowledge about oneself. By the knowledge, the true nature of the self, we disconnect ourselves. And that is called yoga. And therefore, this is called yoga knowledge. True nature of the self. Knowing the true nature of the self is yoga, which disconnect you from these three fundamental problems called the mortality, ignorance, and the unhappiness. So, this is what yoga word here we have learned. Any question people can ask? We can have a question answer session also.
Thank you very much, Swamini ji. Viewers, if you have questions, you can post it now, and Swamini ji will take it up.
One question I think is written here.
Yes, I think this is question in Sanskrita. Perhaps you could read and answer it, Swamini ji.
Yeah. Karma yoga prakashascha gnanascha cha granaya manah sanjikharoti. Hridayam vistarayati ekatayaha margasthithan sarvan badan bhangayati. Chitta shuddhi तथा हृदय शुद्धि हेतु कर्मयुग प्रभावी साधना अस्ति अतः नित्यं निस्वार्थ सेवां कुरुत इति भगवद गीता बोधयति खलु यदि एवं अस्ति तर्हि निस्वार्थ कार्यं करणं कर्मयोगः अस्ति वा मानवतायाः सेवा कर्मयोगः अस्ति सुलभं भविष्यति यदि भवन्तः उदाहरण उभयमपि व्याख्यास्यन्ति बहवः धन्यवादाः ओके Vasudevan Rajgopalam Iyengar. Karma yoga prakashasya gnanasya cha grahanaya manah sanjaya. Now, there is a question here. The karma yoga is a means for gaining knowledge. How it is? Hridaya Shuddhi says, Hridaya Shuddhi hetu karma yoga prabhavi sadhana. That's true, you are right. That through karma yoga only we can achieve the proper mind which is available for gaining the knowledge. And therefore, the first two definitions are the same. Unless we develop the Ishwararpan Buddhi with reference to the action and the Prasad Buddhi with reference to the Karma Phala, the result of the action, our mind is not going to be pure enough. It's called Sattva Shuddhi. By the purification of the mind only, we can gain this knowledge. It is already in second chapter, Bhagavan says, Raga Dvesha Viyuktaihi, Vishaya and Indriyaischaran. So how to get rid of this Raga Dvesha? Everybody is endowed with this Raga Dvesha, understand. In third chapter, Bhagavan very clearly says, Indriyani Manobuddhi Asya Adhisthana Muchi. The Raga Dveshas are there. Indriyani Indriyartha Raga Dvesha Vyavastha. According to Bhagavad Gita, there are only two problems are there called Raga and Dvesha. Whole human psychology is nothing but this Raga Dvesha. And as long as we are under the spell of Raga Dvesha, it is very difficult to gain this knowledge. And therefore, Bhagavan very clearly says how to get rid of this Raga Dvesha. In third chapter, Bhagavan says, Indriyani Indriyartebhyaha Raga Dvesha Vyavastha. Tayoho Vasham Na Agachat. Understand, this is the first solution of that is don't come under the spell of Ragadvesha. Bhagavan is not telling removing Ragadvesha. Understand, lot of Mahatmas are talking, Ragadvesh se upar uth jaiye. Nobody is going to do that, understand? Because it is there. Bhagavan already said it is there and it is going to. Vyavasthita means it very well, it is there. Only thing is whether we are under the spell of Ragadvesha or not. That means, now how to get rid of the spell of Ragadvesha? Bhagavan said, Tayoho vasham na gachet. Why? Tauhi paripanthino. This is the two, our enemies for the Jnana Marga, for the path of knowledge. So Shankaracharya tells very nicely here, this rag, when for the sansari, Ragadvesha is a beauty, understand? I like blue color and the person feel proud about that. I like this color, I like this flower, I like this house, I like this cloth, understand? So this likes and dislikes become the personality for us. And therefore, we are proud of our own Ragadvesha. That means we have a raga for our Ragadvesha. Understand this properly. Then when the person comes to the spirituality, when it comes to Bhagavad Gita, people start, oh, look at this, so many Ragadvesha are there in my mind, so bad. That means now he has developed the Dvesha for Ragadvesha. Samsari has a raga for the Ragadvesha. The sadhaka, the seeker, has a dvesha for the raga. Understand? That means what? We are in the same cycle of Ragadvesha. And therefore, Bhagavan says, don't come under the spell of Ragadvesha. That means what? How to do that? Next verse, Bhagavan is giving the solution. Swadharma nidhanam shreya. Understand? Swadharma. You perform your duty. By performing your duty, you can have a say over your Ragadvesha. Years before, one lady came to me and she was telling, Swamini ji, from 2 years I have not gone to the theatre. Otherwise, every movie comes first Friday only I see the movie. But from 2 years I have not gone there. He said, really? I said, yeah, oh. Yeah, are you really unhappy? No, I am not unhappy. I said, but you have not gone to see the movie in the theatre. No, but I am not unhappy, Swamini ji. Why? No, I have this child, No, but that means what? When there is a child and you take care of the child, your raga for going to see movie is gone. That's what Bhagavan is telling. You perform your action. Swadharma. By performing the Swadharma, you can get rid of the spell of Ragadvesha. It is no more effective on you. It is no more impelling you to do something. And therefore, through the Karma Yoga, Ishwararpan Buddhi, Prasad Buddhi, and performing one's duty, we can have say over our Ragadvesha, and that mind is called Shuddha mind. That is called the purification of the mind. It's not that you remove Ragadvesha. Only you are not under the spell of Ragadvesha. That is called the purification of the mind. And through the Karma Yoga, there is a purification of the mind. And once our mind is pure, knowledge is easy. That is what in the second chapter Bhagavan says. Ragadvesha viyuktaihi vishayan indriyaish charan. You are observing, you are perceiving all the objects through your indriya senses, but these senses are not under the spell of Ragadvesha. Atmavashya, they are under the spell of you. That means you have a mastery over your senses. Prasadam adhigacchati. What is the sign of the purification of the mind? Bhagavan said, Prasadam adhigacchati. I already explained to you, Prasadam means very pure mind, very quiet mind. So you are the one who can decide whether your mind is pure and quiet or not. And therefore, Karma Yoga is the means to gain this knowledge Because you have to purify your mind. Through the purification of the mind, you can gain. That's why in the next one, Bhagavan said, Prasade sarva dukkhana bhani asyopajayate prasanna chetasah. Understand? This is the biggest sadhana or achievement for Vedanta, that do you have a cheerful mind or not? Whatever knowledge you have gained is one thing, but with that you have cheerful mind. Prasanna chetasah ashu buddhi paryavatishti. Bhagavan says ashu means immediately. Immediately your mind will settle into the knowledge of the self. And therefore, you are right, Karma Yoga is required. Karma Yoga is for the purification of the mind through which we can gain the knowledge.
Thank you, Swaminiji, for a very elaborate and in-depth response. Viewers, if you have any more questions, please
I
put
think
in
that
the
question
box.
also one more question is there.
Is there? Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. Then.
अतः नित्यं निस्वार्थ सेवां कुरुतः इति भगवद गीता बोधयते इति खलु. No. Don't get into this one. See, this is another problem in our culture. People have created this sentence: Nar Seva, Narayana Seva. And I am doing this seva, and therefore I don't need to do puja, I don't need to go to the temple, I don't need to do japa, because I am doing this, I'm taking care of these 100 children. Don't get into this. That is a part of our Samaj Seva. That is different thing. The Pancha Mahabhuta Yajna we have, the Pancha Mahayajna is what we call, that is a part of it. But that doesn't mean that there should not be religious life. Understand, these people have replaced the religious life with this seva. No, don't do that. It's completely different. That's why I told you, Karma Yoga is what? With reference to the action, you have Ishwararpan Buddhi, with reference to result of action, Prasad Buddhi. We have to develop that, and once you develop, that is also Bhakti, because you are connected to Ishwar. Karma Yoga is a Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga is a Karma Yoga. Don't get into this problem, because you Niswartha Bhav se aap seva karo. But that doesn't replace the religious life or spiritual life. That doesn't mean that you don't have to achieve, don't have to listen to the Shastra. Shravanam is also required. Bhakti also is required. That is a human life. And therefore, though you are doing something, it is great, because that is a part of our life. It is called, in Shastra, it's called Purta Karma. In Shastra, it is called Purta Karma. Vapi Kupa Tadagadi Devatayatana cha Aramascha Annaprada. So, these are the social work we have to do. It's called Purta Karma. That is a part of our life. You create, you make a lake, or you make a well for the water, drinking water. Then you make a temple, Devataya Tanani. Then Annapradaha means Annakshetra. Aramashta Dharmashala. If you see the different, all these pilgrimage places, there are so many places are there where people can stay. So, this is social work, which is part of our life. But it doesn't replace the Shastra, Shravanam and Bhakti. But it is also Karma Yoga. But that is not the only Karma Yoga. So don't get into this. Nar Seva, Narayan Seva. Don't get into this one. Though we have to perform this action because we are a part of this creation, we have to have this responsibility of the society also. And also the family also. And therefore, it's good if somebody is doing that. We have to appreciate that karma.
I think, Swamiji, you make a very, very important correction to a very prevalent misunderstanding. While it is true that seva is very important, it is very, very, very important in life. Seva, Sushrusa and all, and Nar Seva, Narayan Seva, that is all okay. But it is not a replacement to the traditional forms of worship. It is an addition to it. It is it is part of the Samanya Dharma practice, if I have to put it in the language of the Dharma Shastra. So this Seva, Shushrusa, etc. comes under Samanya Dharma. which helps one in the larger karma yogic pursuit, but it is not a replacement for the ritualistic aspect or the establishing the relationship with the Ishvara. So you make a point about how for karma yoga the key point is that the karmas or the actions have to be done with Ishwararpana Buddhi. But how will this Ishwararpana Buddhi come in the first place if there is no bhakti, if there is no sadhana, if there is no mantra, puja, etc., through which we build this connection with the Ishvara? So that is how this, I think, this seva and the ritualistic worship has to be done side by side. So I think this is a very, very important and clarification, I would say, for a very prevalent misunderstanding among a lot of people. Thank you.
He's raising hand, so let us see.
If you have any further questions, please post it in the Q&A box itself, and we will take it up. We will just wait for a few more minutes. And Swamiji, as we wait, I have a question which is more generic in nature. Since we are discussing the notion of yoga, and in contemporarily, when anybody speaks of yoga, the first thing that comes to mind is the exercise procedure, that asana procedure. So that is first thing. The second thing is Patanjali yoga, and the third is the Hatha yoga, which is also asana related, but it is more, it's a independent tradition of its own. It's a spiritual tradition of its own. We have Gorakshanatha and others in Hatha yogis. So, but when we come to Vedanta, we often speak yoga in the context of Karma yoga, Bhakti yoga, Jnana yoga. So for a beginner, I think I remember when I started my study also. So for quite some time, I was wondering how everything fits, because it is a fundamental belief. I think it's a fundamental conviction even among our acharyas that everything fits together in the larger spiritual pursuit. So moksha is the ultimate goal, and we are currently at a particular place. So when we go there, there are many paths, many stages, but everything eventually merges to one large teaching. So how do you see this Hatha Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, etc., fitting into the Vedantic or the Bhagavad Gita understanding of yoga as a larger spiritual pursuit?
I think I can take up that one in the next session, because it's a very elaborate answer I have to do.
Okay.
The elaboration has to be done, because as you say, that's going to come in the next session also, because in the 6th chapter, Bhagavan says, tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, gnanibhyo mato adhikah, karmibhyascha adhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhava Arjuna, So there, all these, your questions will be answered, because that's what I'm going to take up in that one. Because lot of people have this, so Bhagavan said, see, even the yogi is better than the gnani. Gnanibhya adhiko yogi. So that misconcept is already there. So there also we have to see what is this yogi. So the next session, we are going to address that particular thing, which is the 6th chapter from verse 44 to 47. I'm going to discuss that, and there we can see everything is in place, understand. Bhakti also is required, Badrinath going also is required. Understand, everything has its own place. Even the yoga, Ashtanga yoga also has a place in our life. That's why in the 6th chapter, Bhagavan says, if you cannot, chitta samadhasti, abhyasa yogena tatah, that abhyasa yoga is this Ashtanga yoga there. Understand? So it's not that Bhagavan is against the Ashtanga yoga. It has also place in our life. It is required. We have to do asanam every day. We have to do pranayam every day, because that is a part of the gaining knowledge. So that I think we'll discuss, because already it's 5 minutes.
Yes, Swaminiji. We will discuss this in the evening session.
All this, what is the place of bhakti? What is the place of puja? What is the place of dhyanam? All this saguna, sakara, upasana, everything I will bring that, because this is all. That is why I brought this topic here. The karma yoga and bhakti yoga are the same, because next session I'm going to discuss about.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. We don't have any more questions now. So we will, viewers, whatever you can reflect upon this talk.
I
And
think he was raising hands, so he want to ask something. He raised
but
hand.
he may, he has not put on any follow-up question. So he may have
I
just a
believe.
just a comment. So if you have any follow-up question, please feel free to ask in the evening session as well. So all viewers can reflect upon this session and bring the questions to the evening session as well. With
We
this,
conclude with the prayer.
yes, Swamiji, please go ahead.
ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ हरि
Viewers, we conclude the session now. Please do join in the evening at 4 p.m. Thank you. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.
ॐ